Okay, it's 6 o'clock, and we're going to call the meeting to order. And I'll determine we do have a quorum. Let's stand and do the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by a prayer. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Carolyn will lead us in prayer.
Almighty God, next week we gather with our families on Thanksgiving Day to thank you for all the blessings you've bestowed upon our families. We also thank you for all the blessings you've bestowed on our community here in Meadow Lakes. Help our elected officials tonight in their deliberations upon matters affecting our city and its residents. Inform their consciences and enlighten their judgment so that the decisions made here tonight are the best possible uses of our resources for our residents. Through Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen.
Amen. Okay, citizen comments, we have one. Robin, if you want to go ahead and get kicked off on that.
Okay, I debated on this, but I was talked into going ahead and doing it. The patrol hours were down considerably this month, or in the month of October. The time spent at the gate was down from 14% to 8%. Patrol minutes remained pretty much the same. Unfortunately, the time spent at City Hall did not go down, but 0.6%. The specific patrols, in other words, intersections and so forth, was up to 24%. The time spent on traffic stops was up to 6%. The missing minutes have gone away, and following the school bus went down for whatever reason, and the time out of the city went down. But you're still getting not that much service. You're still getting the City Hall time, 20% of the time is still spent at City Hall. He's documented a little better. He's talking to staff. But I'm sorry, that's still not, that's a cop-out.
Okay.
That's all I got.
Thank you. All right. Let's move on to monthly standard live reports. Will, you gonna run us through the utility, or is it you or Johnny gonna do utility?
I think Johnny?
Johnny, you wanna do?
Tag team the two.
Johnny, yeah, you do that, and then Will, you take over with ordinance and animal control officer report, building committee, and golfing. In that order.
Over the month of October, most of the crew's time has been spent on trying to finish out the temporary pro shop. We did have a few leaks and a couple of sewer stop-ups. There's nothing out of the ordinary. Just kind of, I gave you a little more information. I don't know if you want to go into it, but water consumption trends. We used almost as much water as in October as we did in September, which is kind of unusual, but the weather has been a little different than it was this time last year as well. And then I just gave you the statistics, I'll get it out in a minute, regarding the number of taps. The water taps are pretty well staying the same. I think we've got a couple of, Vanessa, we have a couple of water connections. I think it was in November though, actually, I think, instead of October.
I mean, we had a few in October, but I feel like this month, November, we had.
Yeah, so there's a little uptick in building a little bit, so we got, I think the building report reflects. The one thing is with the temperatures kind of beginning to change, and as we've noticed it this last couple of weeks, or actually the last 2 or 3 days, we're beginning to see these fall. We'll kind of look at that after the first of the month and see when our first leaf pick up. The storm system that's coming in, hopefully this next few days might take the leaves down faster. But we'll probably have 2 scheduled pickups, probably one in December. I'm thinking around the middle of December. Probably have to have another one out at the first of the year. It just depends on the leaves.
Okay. Hey, Johnny?
Yes.
I got a text from a guy today, and it said, who I guess had a repair job to do. It says Your Public Works crew did a superb job on repairing my water main today. Timely, professional, and courteous.
Good,
Yeah,
that's
so-
nice. We don't
Thought
get
it-
very many
You
of
don't get very
those.
many
I'll
texts
pass it
like
on-
that, so I
I'll
thought
pass it on to the
I'd pass
guys,
it
'cause
on,
they did
yeah.
have a water leak today
Yeah.
that they had to work on.
On Columbine, I think it's
I
near,
believe
near
it
that
was.
fifth hole, I
And it was
think.
down at the main, at the tap in at the main,
Okay,
so they had to dig it all up.
So-
They've been doing a pretty good job. I mean, we've been stressing to restore it back the best we can, because in past, sometimes they left dirt, sometimes they get in there, finish it, and get through. We're gonna have to go back 2 or 3 times
yeah,
to do it, so they're doing a real good job. Scott's really worked on that, and it's
That's
helped a
great.
bunch, so.
super, okay. Okay, well, you go ahead and take the next 4.
All right, for ordinance, still having a focus on trash cans that are visible from the streets. We did leave, or Steve left 29 door hanger notices and all have complied. The full list is in your report here submitted by Steve. There have been some questions about parking on the street, and he has been going after them, went out on a special tour to try to get cars that were parked overnight, and did leave notices on them. However, we haven't had complete compliance with those. So he's gonna continue leaving fines for them, and hopefully we'll get better compliance with that. If not, we'll have to look at stepping it up and trying to get those vehicle owners to get them off the street at night, because we've received the most complaints about those recently. Any questions about our ordinance enforcement? Yes.
Our ordinance says that you can't put Christmas stuff up until after Thanksgiving, and I would hate to have to go tell all these people that have their Christmas lights up, and it's against the ordinances, but they are. So, I mean, you don't wanna tell them to pull the lights down, but can you put something in the letter to people, you're not supposed to do this yet. We do, don't we have an ordinance?
Yes, we
Yes.
do. We also, it's in the POA. I think one of the issues, I believe I talked to someone from the POA, and they'd had a discussion, right, Mike? You might want to just enlighten what the discussion was.
Make sure you're talking to Mike.
The discussion that took place at the last POA meeting had to do with the city ordinance and when lights and decorations could be put up. Here's the problem that we're running into is that, yes, a lot of people are starting early, but as you know, the POA does an annual Christmas decorations competition, and they have set the date of it's the second week in December. I don't remember the specific date of when they're gonna do the judging. Actually, our ordinance doesn't allow them to put up decorations till after the judging. So, what we've asked, or what we'd like to see, is that date changed to like the 15th of November, so it gives residents time to put up their decorations in time for the judging, those that want to participate in that. But there are some that are even would take advantage of that date. So there needs to be some discussion as far as changing the date on the ordinance so that it benefits everybody. We still need to maintain the date of when they have to have their decorations down, but not put up.
I think my only question is, will the POA have to change their CCNRs before we can change the ordinance? Because our ordinance follows yours. If we change ours, then we're in conflict with the POA's CCNRs.
I was unaware of that, but yes, we will.
So,
And I think that's what the discussion,
yeah,
to get an agreement on the board for a agreeable date.
It's nice to see the decorations on, I just love them,
Yeah, I mean,
but,
yeah,
I don't like seeing the day after Halloween.
oh,
I think it's kind of silly.
Well, go into Walmart and you see them after Labor Day.
well, My wife has been wanting to put the tree up for 2 weeks now, so. Fortunately, I've been able to fight her off on that.
I do have one comment on the ordinance. I noticed we have several people that have for sale signs, commercial yard signs. Is that because they are not aware? Because that has been something in Meadow Lakes from the beginning. And yet we're starting to see people violating them. And the question is, are they not aware of those, you know, that this is a POA, CCNR, and it's our ordinance? And so I guess that's my question, is are the residents getting copies of those things?
And the ordinance officer should be doing that, right?
Well, he is. I'm saying he's giving it, but because he's finding that they're doing it, my question is, they should have been aware of that before. So obviously there's a mismatch somewhere.
Yeah.
If I may comment from the POA perspective. We have updated our CCNRs, brought them current, and they will be posted shortly, really. Not that ordinance changed, but they're just not reading the ordinances. Because they get a copy of them, I believe, or not a copy of, or at least access to the ordinances with their closing documents, so.
I have another question about ordinances. I had a gentleman ask me whether or not above-ground pools are allowed in Meadow Lakes, and I said I didn't think so, but I would check. He asked me because a neighbor apparently is kind of rowdy late at night, having parties, and put up an above-ground pool and wanted to know. So I don't know the answer to that.
I don't either.
So if I may break in again, that was brought up in the last building committee meeting. In fact, I brought it up after our discussion. And off the top of anybody's head, they couldn't recall, but it was going to be researched, and they were going to get back to me on that.
Would that be a city ordinance or a POA?
Has to come first from
But-
them,
It would
yeah.
be yeah.
So Mike, when you publish that, does that mean that every time you publish it, what does it take to get them into effect then? Does it take a citywide vote?
Depends.
Okay.
Yeah, depends on what the change is. If it's just a word or two, then not necessarily, but if we're making some major changes to a CCR or policy, then yes, it would have to go up for a vote. But there's verbiage in the CCRs that do address pools, type of pools. It's that can be put into somebody's backyard. It just, nobody was versed in what it actually said.
Yeah.
So they were going to research it
Okay.
and come to let me know in the next meeting.
All right. Is that it for ordinance?
Yes.
Okay.
Is there any other questions?
Animal?
All right. Jerry Mason was fairly busy throughout October. He had a drunk skunk that stumbled. Yeah, he found a call about a drunk skunk, a couple different cats and dogs that have been lost, and some that are running at large. And he's been able to round any up and return them because he knows most of the animals that escape. And he tries to work with them so that they stop escaping. He calls them escape artists. Going on to our patrol activity. Mrs. Thompson noted that we did have fewer hours worked in the last month. Also did get our yearly totals for the county being called to our city. They had 627 total calls. 108 of those were special assignments, which would be Officer Richard Chofee, and we had very low violent crime compared with other communities. I haven't done exact comparisons yet, but we're definitely in the top 5% safest communities in Texas, which is something that we should be proud of here. So we had one violation order. We had 3 calls of thefts and two cases that were actually taken, 4 calls about a person making threats, 2 sexual assaults in the city, 15 suspicious activities, 4 accidents that the county responded to, 5 verbal disturbances, 2 missing or endangered persons, 5 criminal mischiefs, 1 death investigation, let's see, 2 trespasses, 28 welfare concerns, 3 calls for mental health, 45 traffic stops, 14 counts of fraud or forgery, 18 public services, 3 noise complaints, and 93 calls for emergency medical services or fire.
What period did that cover?
In the last 12 months.
Okay.
Yeah, not the last month, but that's our last year. Yeah.
Was the sexual assault a contractor, or does it say contractor on a resident or resident on resident?
I don't have specific
Okay.
information.
Okay.
And then moving on to our building committee report. In October, there were 4 issued permits, 1 for a fence, 1 for a remodel, 1 for an arbor/pergola, and 1 for swimming pool. In progress, we have 3 remodels, 4 new constructions, and 1 swimming pool, for a total of 8.
I have a question. On the, well, I'm trying to think, I think it's Carnoustie. I know it's the house that if you're on the 8th tee box, the men's tee box, it's the house directly to your right. They have a pool, but they built a pool house and it's not attached to the house. And my understanding all the years I've lived here that you can't have freestanding things like pergolas and stuff. It has to be attached to the house. Who is responsible for checking on that?
Mike?
All right, we discussed that. In fact, that's been discussed at the last couple of building committee meetings. Pergolas can be freestanding. They don't have to be attached to the house. The pool house was somehow, I don't know if there was a miscommunication. I was not at that meeting when that was approved, but from what I was told is that there was some miscommunication and misunderstanding about that pool house actually being built. And before it came to my attention, it was already constructed. So the fact that it's not attached to the house, it's not a storage. If it's a storage facility or building or a room or whatever, that has to be attached to your house. It can't be freestanding. But the fact that it is a separate structure for a pool house, which is, I guess, associated directly with their pool, then it was approved.
Well, then my feeling it was improperly approved because my understanding from the whole time that I've been here, because we've taken stuff down before, we've had homeowners having to take things down like pergolas, and unless we've changed the ordinance, you don't have freestanding. We don't have freestanding garages. It has to be attached either with a breezeway. And I believe that's the way the CCNRs and the building is. And my concern is, we have, over the years, we've denied people and made them take things down. And so if we start being lax on something, then,
Let me,
I'd like to
I think we got, let me,
That building will be attached. It will be, it's already been addressed. I've talked to the owner and the contractor. If you look carefully, there's the beginnings of an attachment that will be there.
okay,
Where it was misled, the drawings that we approved as a building committee were misleading. And we'll take that as a committee.
Okay.
That we probably shouldn't have approved the permit period with so much vague symbols on the drawings. However, it did denote that, and it was an existing building that was enlarged and made bigger. But we've made it clear to the owner that that building must be attached to the existing house.
okay.
good to
Yeah,
know.
my question was, how the inspection of that goes and whose responsibility for following it up, so.
Well, I don't know which one of us on the building committee is charged with monitoring the progress on that. But I've taken a personal interest in it.
Okay,
Great.
thank you.
Thanks, Steve. Go ahead.
All right, then we go to briefing on golf. Our pro, David, is due to come back. Through all of his health concerns, he's been cleared to come back. I believe it's next week. Is that right?
He was here
This week?
today.
This week. Yeah, he stopped in briefly today, so
Mhm.
that's
He stopped
great.
in briefly today, and he said he was on his way to get the clearance from the doctor.
Which is good news, because he's sorely missed.
Yeah.
And Isaiah will appreciate not having to work so much overtime. And that's just in time for him to help us finalize the plans for moving our temporary, or from our permanent pro shop to the temporary one. Speaking of that location, on hole 1, we were going to install new sprinklers, new irrigation at the beginning of this month. However, there was an issue with our machine, so we are waiting till the beginning of this next coming month. They've got that fixed now. It wasn't running properly, the trencher, so expect there to be a little bit of work going on January, I forget the date, but the first Monday in January. Or, I'm sorry, first Monday in December, yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Well, I spoke with David today, because we've been looking at carpet tiles and paint, and so I showed him some samples of stuff, and so he's in agreement, and as soon as I get paint samples, and he's gonna paint the racks that he has on the wall so that we can get the colors.
Is this for the new, or for the
This
temporary
is for the
building?
temporary
Yeah.
pro shop, yeah. So there's not much that you could, choices, so, because they wanted to use carpet tiles, and so you have a choice of dark gray, light gray, mixed gray, that's it. So, floor's gonna be gray.
There's a lot of shades of gray,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, so, but anyway, but David, that's why he was here, and so he's very much, aware of that, so he's good.
I just saw him briefly.
Yeah.
Any other questions or comments about our golf? We're moving on. Okay.
Yeah, let's go ahead, consent items, minutes, and the October financials. We're gonna go ahead and approve those once we get a motion, but I'd like for you to at least highlight some of the financials before we go through and do that.
Sure. So going over our assets in the general fund, as of October 31st, we had a cash on hand of $493,000 with total liabilities and equity of $564,000. Our capital improvements fund still has $7,373,000. Utilities is at $1,100,000. Recreation is at $201,000. Total cash on hand is $9,210,000. In our general fund, there is a little bit more expense than is actual. A little more expense on paper than is actual, because our insurance has not been broken out between our other two departments that it pays for. So the total bill is around $100,000, and it won't be more than, I think, 40,000-ish in the actual general fund before it gets, or after it gets broken out. That's the only inaccuracy there. Our ad valorem revenue for for October was $837,000. So we're expecting that to come in, before too long. We have a projected amount of $611,000 for the full year.
So how much was paid in October?
Oh, $800.
$800?
Yeah. So not much.
No,
Well, it's too early.
Yep.
right. They're gonna pay it most of them pay it by the end of the year.
Mhm.
Okay. Okay, so is there a motion to approve the minutes and the financials? Assuming there's no, first of all, are there any corrections or additions to the minutes? Move to accept the consent items, to accept the consent items, right? Yes, okay.
I second.
Barbara second. All in favor? Thank you. Very good. Johnny, are you, got an update for us on the complex?
The complex includes a lot of things, and in my memo to you on it, I kind of broke out several of them. But to start off with the temporary pro shop, we're installing doors and windows. Tape and floating has been done. As soon as we get some lighting and David's feels, we'll trying to find a contractor that we can afford to paint. If not, we'll have to paint it ourselves, because the first quote for $9,000 is ridiculous for that. So I thought. So, but overall, it's coming together. My cost estimates that I reported last month, I kind of have to backtrack a little bit. I was thinking about $150,000. I think we're going to be at the $175,000 mark. Concrete people should be moving in next week or right after Thanksgiving to do the final concrete work that needs to be done. Let's see, electric is installed. We're currently, staff is currently doing the internal electric, putting receptacles and light switches and everything in. So that should be done probably by the end of the week, since it's going to be raining, hopefully Thursday and Friday, that'll give them something to do inside. So everything there on the pro shop, temporary pro shop, is going fairly well. We've got some trim out to do still. We've still got about 15 to 20% of the metal structure, the tin on the side of the building left to do, but most of it is done. So we still have some done. I'm trying to think of anything else regarding that. If y'all have any questions, stop by. It's looking pretty good. It actually is looking pretty good. And it looks a lot bigger inside than what I thought it was going to be. I mean, it's I think square footage wise, a little bit bigger than what we got now. Less the storage. The storage is the issue there. And in the future, if we have the funds, we may look at adding another 8 or 10 foot just storage on the back side of the building inside the existing cart barn. But my thought is, let's get them to operate the cart barn in the area where you come in and you go out, and make sure we have turning radiuses for the carts to get out, because it's only like 20, 25 foot from that to where the carts will be stopped at. So we need to make certain that they all fit. And 80 carts will fit in there. It's going to be tight, but they still have plenty of room to manipulate around and everything. The utility work, I'll go through these real quick. I don't want to, but the utility work, Will wasn't there that day. Met with a utility contractor. We're going to utilize a contractor that you had used, the PLA had used, I think, before, Lindsay, which is really good, but it'll be a day-by-day contract. That kind of gives him some flexibility and give us some flexibility on the cost on this. I should have the cost for laying the sewer line, hopefully within a few days. We have one issue that we have to work around, and that's where that sewer line terminates is going to have to go through the 5-foot easement between two houses to actually tie into Pinehurst Street, where it'll flow straight to the sewer plant. I have not talked to the owner yet. We're waiting to see if we can afford boring. if we can bore it, because my experience with major construction in someone's yard, you're there for 5 years. To be honest with you, you're repairing everything for 5 years, because everything goes wrong, it's your fault. And I can't blame them. I mean, I really can't. So if we can bore it, we're gonna try to bore it just to save the headache from both of the residents as well as the city. But you know, that estimate is like $325,000 or $350,000. Don't know that number for sure yet until he comes back with us. One thing that we didn't really talk about a whole lot during the planning of the building is relocating the putting green. Currently, the building will not extend onto the existing putting green, but it's going to be a few feet. And talking to the contractor, I think, well, Mayor Bentley and I met with Brian and Zach, contractors, and kind of went over just logistics and everything. And there's chances are that they'll have to tear up about 1/3 of the putting green for construction, just being able to move around, and also for demoing. So we're looking at, the game plan now is to move the putting green to the chipping area, and move the chipping area onto the the driving range, which will entail some work because we're going to put up some netting and do a bunch of stuff. So, but probably the next projects the Public Works and Golf Course will attack is moving the putting green, because we want to salvage all the material underneath, because it's a special mix for those greens, and we don't want to have to spend $8,000 or $10,000, maybe more. So we're going to try to salvage all that. So we'll try to do it and leave the putting green open as long as we can. The turf that we're looking at putting on the putting green they say is playable in about 5 weeks. That's basically rolled out, and you just have to you got to roll it, but it comes in rolls. It's like laying solid, but it's, San Saba put it on their greens, and they were playing in 6 weeks on good greens, they said.
Oh, Johnny,
Yes, ma'am.
what's the time frame, do you think, on starting on the putty green?
It'll probably be, I'm gonna be February,
February, okay.
because we've got, once the guys get through with the cart barn, and there's about a month in there, we really need to get caught up on a bunch of work. Of course, we got leaves to pick up, that's gonna be the end of December. So I'm gonna say sometime in March. Hopefully we'll have it up, going pretty quick. The chipping area, we're gonna have to work on. That's gonna be a longer range project. I know we'll have to sacrifice it, but, and looking at, the way the building is laid out and everything, with a manicured putting green looking out your back window is gonna be pretty impressive, I think.
Yeah.
And then there's some plans on trying to improve the driving range if the funds are available. And most of that's pretty minor cost, as well. But so we're working on that. We got to relocate some irrigation lines and do some temporary cart path work. Hopefully that'll start in early December.
Okay,
That's moving some lines, actually moving some lines that's will be on the chipping area. So we got it, but we were gonna do it, but we're gonna just have the contractor do it, because he probably can get in and out faster than we can. The cart paths, the main one we'll have to relocate right now is the one behind the cart barn in the swimming pool, because that's all gonna be demoed out. The cart path actually will extend out, if you're looking at the tennis courts, that first tennis court, it will actually be about 8 or 10 foot probably packed to the north of the net. So it's moving out a bunch. And then we'll have to do some rerouting, around the elevated water storage tank on the back side of their construction site, just because to be able to tie 9, I guess that will be 10. When a lot of people jump 6 to 10, which we're gonna do, but those will all be probably granite gravel that we can maintain a whole lot easier than trying to put down base and asphalt and just have to tear it out. So should be that. As I mentioned earlier, the mayor and I met with Nash last week, I think it was, wasn't it? Yeah, last
think it
Tuesday,
was, yeah.
last Tuesday. And just kinda went over the logistics of everything. Kinda just, I think, I learned a lot of stuff, and I think Mark did too.
Yeah, they
It's just-
were very thorough.
Yeah, locating, how everything's gonna be located, what needed to be done first, what needed to be, so that game plan is in. Now, start date, I don't know, I'm guessing end of December, 1st of January. One of the holdups we have currently, it's kind of slowed everything down, is we're waiting on LCRA's water storm permit. It's been submitted, it's been kicked back with a bunch of stuff. Talked to the engineers, and they think they have everything resolved, but we still don't have that permit. And according to Ryan, when we were talking to him, you submit, and it's like a couple of weeks later, they want an on-site inspection. So they have to come out and inspect before we can actually start anything. So that's kind of our holdup on that. Other than that, the mayor signed the contract. It was approved by the attorney, the amendment to the contract, I guess is a better word, that addendum. So that was signed and executed, so we're all ready to go. It's just a matter of getting all the wheels turning in the right direction.
Oh, Johnny, on the temporary cart paths, are they just going to be more like dirt, or are we gonna put the
We'll put granite gravel, compacted granite gravel
Okay,
on.
packed
It's
granite,
like,
okay.
sort of like what we used to have,
Yeah,
but there's not gonna be as many to maintain.
Right,
And there's not gonna be
okay.
as much washing.
Yeah.
You know, washing across them. I just hate to spend the money to put asphalt down.
right, well, that's what I was
And we
wondering
probably
about.
won't, in regards to asphalt, I'm sorry, we're scheduled, y'all are scheduled to, consider interlocal agreement here in just a little bit with Burnett County. Burnett County's been very, very, good to us. And so, hopefully the parking area and all that in front of the cart path, part of it's gonna be, the ramps are concrete, but everything else is gonna be asphalt. Well, hopefully it'll be done in December, if the weather permits. And of course, the problem there is the temperatures get too low, they don't make asphalt, so we have to kinda, but right now, everything's on the go. And if y'all approve the contract, the county, jumping the gun, I don't think I know too well this, that, I think it's on the 25th Commissioner's Court, agenda. Any other questions?
Johnny, on the community center, did the contractor give us a timeline as far as sort of a idea of the whole completion of it
No,
all?
sir, not yet. They were still trying, they're still looking at trying to save us some money in a few places. So I'm assuming maybe in December we'll have a definite, well, y'all won't have a meeting, so if you don't have a meeting, we'll send out a memo regarding, the updates on it. I like to keep you updated every month where y'all know what's going on, so that'll get sent out. But
Is the first thing they're gonna do is tear down the building?
yes, the first thing is demo, and then, after that, you'll start doing dirt work and site work. All that's been done, engineered and everything, so that's all. We had some issues early, with the site plan, but I think that's all been in some elevations. And again, it all falls back to, we're having to capture all the stormwater and send it to the number 10 pond. So there was some issues with some elevations and stuff, but that was all resolved a couple of months ago. So, I think everything looks good. The one thing we did not plan is LCRA's permitting fees, which could be $10,000 to $20,000, but, yeah, shocked me too. But, we'll, hopefully it won't be that much, but we're looking at what they sent, like, it's $1,500 every manhole, which so much for every downspout, $1,500 for your entrance to the construction site. But Ryan said some of that will come back. He thought some of it would come back to us after the project was completed.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
And, one other question, on the pond on number 10, will we have to do anything to hold the extra water to it?
No, ma'am, not at this time. That was one thing that came back that really shocked, I think, Will and I, we both have, holy cow, we have to go in there and dredge that pond and make it deeper, but I think by lowering, right now, the permit, the application we had, I believe, don't hold me to it, but I think it had 1 foot of, freeboard. So we may have to go to 2 foot of freeboard, so they'll change the operation of the golf course watering system a little bit. But the bad thing about that is it's gonna cause more erosion on those banks. And we've got something maybe in the future, hopefully near future, we're gonna have to go in and stabilize the banks, cause, I was told the other day that from where our number 10 cart path to the pond used to be like 12 feet. And now it's 3 feet, 4 feet.
Some places.
It's
see-
touching it. Yeah, 'cause
Yeah.
we had to do that one repair where it's
Eroded
actually
Yeah.
running up to it. So it's eroding. So that's one of the big problems that we'll
Okay.
probably have to address, but
Yeah.
there's no money in
Right.
in this project to do that, unless if we have to. LCRA doesn't accept a 2 foot freeboard.
Oh, great, very thorough. Thank you very, very much, Johnny. Anybody have any more questions for Johnny? I did, I think he answered everything I had.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go ahead and move on. Second item of old business. Garrett, do you have any update on the emergency disaster warnings response?
The only update I have is talking with Johnny, and we've talked to our grant writer, and he claims that we are not eligible for any kind of state grants for the storm.
Well, something that's interesting, I just got an email today from the state, and, well, it's actually from our floodplain people, HAP Engineering. It's not on the agenda, but I'll bring it, talk to you a little bit. And
Well,
one
this
of
is
the
on the-
things is, about it is that we have to meet some criteria that's coming up regarding our floodplain. And one of them is the installation of
Oh, okay.
sirens, auxiliary warning systems.
Uh-huh.
So they may fall back into another, it may come out of maybe the water development fund instead of out of other coffers. So, well, I'll keep you updated and I'll try to do
Okay.
some research and see. But
We're-
that was one of the deals that came out.
So let me understand it. You said that we may be mandated to have these sirens.
Well,
That would then possibly make us eligible to receive a grant for them?
yeah, what the email read, there was like 7 different criterias that had to be met,
Mm-hmm,
and one of them was that.
yeah.
And there was some others that really didn't pertain to a whole lot, which we've already met all of those. But, so I'm guessing it may come about, but I don't know when.
Okay.
Not in time for spring, I don't
Yeah.
think, because slow the wheels starting.
Well, you don't have any more, about 60,000 cost is what we
Yeah, that
have in
was
the
our
budget?
last estimate.
Yeah.
And we need to reach back out to them and shore up a number, I
Yeah.
guess, because we budgeted for it, so.
We budgeted 60,000, yeah.
Yeah. We can do it, it's just
Yeah,
that.
if we think there's any chance of getting a grant, let's not pay our own money first, let's wait
Right.
till we see how that develops, but I'd run it by that, grant writer again, make sure that
Mhm.
just because we didn't get it this time, neither did Kerrville, didn't have it either,
Mhm.
and yet and they flooded, so maybe we should maybe you should get it before you have a flood instead of after,
That's a good point.
yeah.
And then we were originally denied a grant under the state, that Flood Emergency Act.
Our representative, you can jump on it, but our representatives indicated to our grant writer that Medlex would not be eligible
Right.
for this first round. So, grants.
But then we talked about, there was a little bit of discussion about maybe applying through either LCRA or PEC, and is that like, don't do that, let's wait for Water Development Board maybe?
Again, a little more research,
Yep,
and I don't believe the city, because those are geared towards nonprofits and not municipal governments.
that makes sense.
Would POA qualify because of the damage done at the park there?
I don't know, we might could throw it the other way,
Yeah,
and if the PO, that's an interesting twist.
yeah.
Worth investigating.
Can we? Yeah, let's do that. I'd like to use every angle we can if
We'll look into it. It's PO.
oh,
it's
you,
POA.
okay, perfect, yeah.
Yeah, I did a grant, or applied for a grant through LCRA 3 years ago. We were denied, but there's a lot of competition in an LCRA, but, grants, but if we have a grant writer, I wrote it myself, and I am not a grant writer. I'm a beggar. And, so, if we have a professional, I'd be glad to sit down with her and see what we can come up with.
Okay.
So if the POA received money towards that, would they be able to give us the money to put in the
No, we
system?
didn't have to put the system.
You
in.
would have to put the.
I think they would have to do it, yeah, makes sense that they'd have to do it.
But it would be our good faith gift to the city, or
Right.
the POA's good faith gift to the city.
We always have the contract with them, we could amend that where they pay us for services,
Mhm.
adjust that amount.
Or we lease it for $1 a year or something like that to maintain it.
There's
Yeah.
probably ways to get it done. I mean, the people that live in the city, that are members of the city and the POA, so
Yeah.
I think it makes sense that, no matter which entity it is, it benefits the residents. Okay, now we got one that we're gonna have to excuse ourselves for item C, under old business executive session to discuss potential litigation. We had this person in a few months ago, I guess, and we need to resolve that. We'll get the lawyer on the phone, Will, and we'll be back. I would hope we'll be back fairly shortly. Sometime we've promised to be back. This time I think we will.
Do we have to adjourn and?
Oh, yeah, let's go ahead and, someone make a motion to temporarily adjourn.
I move we temporarily adjourn, go to executive session.
Okay. Second, and all in favor, let's do that. Okay, we'll be back.
going with?
Stayed there for 3 years after it was over, and then my kids said,
Well, I have a niece,
we're
my
getting
sister's
married, and we're,
daughter,
we're
great-
planning to
a
have
great,
kids around
a
like
granddaughter.
they were 35, and,
She's got a new
it'd be
one.
nice
So
to be
funny,
closer
because
to
she
you,
was
and
she
I'm
was
in there
dating
packing
this
my
guy.
bags, saying, goodbye, Pecos.
Took a while, but she
You know where Grand
finally
Falls
announced
was?
that she's in
That's where my mother's from.
Grand Falls. It's something new that they do.
Well, see, my
Anyway,
parents
after Christmas,
lived
they
in
don't take
Pecos
her
in
room.
the late 20s, I guess. My dad was fixing to go to school.
She's
They
going
still had
on.
relatives there, so Mama was in her 90s and we thought, oh,
She came
I
to,
kept saying, probably when the word was spreading.
she is, she's a hiker, she likes to hike.
Really?
Would you have a good travel agent working with you together?
I would do it myself. My wife looked into it, and that's the type that I would want to do.
I don't know, cool. Did you get a girlfriend to go with you or something?
All my friends are already members, so.
Could be at the same time. There you go.
That's true, yeah.
I would look up in those places too.
Mama was from Emory.
Yeah, I was planning on doing too.
Big.
Joanna's more of an ocean person, she loves the ocean. Yeah.
How was the wedding? I haven't gotten to talk to her since the wedding.
She showed me pictures and it was so
How did she
pretty.
do August one day?
Yeah, it was a shade of picture and everything. Yeah, it was really nice.
What are we gonna do with Vaughn? I'm so soft and
I know, we're always in argument.
I figure, you know, I wish I had more of that.
The route was a gas pump, it wasn't.
We've got to finish.
Yes.
We called him last week. He was down.
Mama probably said,
I think I called her at 3 o'clock.
I don't know, I wish I'd asked him about it.
Just got.
I didn't hear it off Van Horn, but where?
A pot. A pot. He says it's.
It's up back where you go.
This is up that neck of the woods.
Oh, okay.
Interstate 30 north of that, just about.
Okay.
Texarkana.
Texarkana.
Well, between Dallas and Dallas.
I have the analogs or the analog. It's on the analog, they drop the. Pain.
I know that Spectrum started working in here on.
But they're not coming this
I
fall.
want that.
They're not gonna come unless they have something new. Because they're all on the analog.
And you had networks, I mean, they were in education.
Yeah, one time they did, but they finished, they had to work for that for another year.
Has that part been
By
changed?
probably
Before that. When you think of that, city of
I figure as long as it's over this, when it gets in here.
Meeting or so about 5 o'clock.
nothing like it.
Certainly not a garden.
Largest city?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe.
If you get leverage,
Leverage, you have, both providers, internet,
30 miles.
like us, both providers. We have AT&T,
We're not really savvy on everybody electronics and stuff like that, that's the problem. Drop, even though they're doing, you know, Huntington, the drop, the other one, Sling or
Oh, good job.
Can't fill this out, I think I don't know. Yes. I think I got it
Okay,
all done
Carolyn,
now.
we need to call us back into session. Carolyn, we need to call us back into session.
Yes, yeah, uh-huh.
Okay. We're going to call us back into session. Meeting is started. As a result of the executive session, we decided to take no action on the issue. You want to go to the next one, dark sky?
Sure.
I'll just let you take over.
All right, we brought it up briefly at the last city council meeting, and the council asked for a little bit more information on what Dark Sky Texas is and what it means for citizens, and what the goal is. And so I did a little bit more reading about it, so I could tell you a little bit about it. And so it's an initiative to reduce light pollution and put light where it serves a purpose, intentional lighting. So that would give us a clearer view of our night skies, as well as reduce light pollution that's going where we don't want it, like across the street into your neighbor's house, or up into the sky, or just anywhere that you don't need to see. A question was asked, would this be compulsory for people? And there's a couple ways you can do it. It would, in order to be a dark sky community, not that that has to be the end-all be-all. We could choose to curtail light pollution without becoming one also. But you do have to enact some sort of city ordinance that reduces the overall lumen amount per acre, that changes lights to be within a certain spectrum, so it's less blue light, more warmer light. Prevents that all new fixtures have to be prevented from going above the ground's horizon, so that they're not shining where you don't need them, like over onto your neighbor's house, and a few other code items like that to prevent the light from going all over. There are quite a few communities and areas in Texas, like Dripping Springs, Horseshoe Bay, Wimberley, Fredericksburg, Blanco, Bee Cave, Jonestown, and Liberty Hill are all dark sky communities that have done this before. So if we wanted to pursue it, we wouldn't be reinventing the wheel. One important part of this also is to obviously do what the people who live here want. So if it's a clear night sky with less pollution of light in our community, we'd want to hear from our constituents, or your constituents, about what they want. We would be one of the furthest east communities to enact this. Austin is a very, sorry, Johnny? Cottonwood. Yeah, and we were singing it earlier that
Yeah, the stars at night are big and bright deep in the heart of Texas.
As long as it's not cloudy, we
Yep.
miss the near.
But we're talking about, we don't have any street lights, so we can't be talking about street lights. You're talking about lights in people's homes?
it would be lights at people's homes, and it would be the tennis court, which we do need to update the lights anyways on that. Is a big offender for light pollution.
Are people gonna have to pay money to get their lights fixed? I don't think we need to do that. If people are gonna have to pay money to fix their lights.
I don't either, I
They
just
already
paid
have enough lights to
several
see what it is.
$1,000s for new light fixtures, and I'm not gonna replace those.
That's a good question.
Well-
And I think that one of the only ways we could smoothly do this would be to grandfather in people who have existing lights, which is everyone. So it would be when you update your lights, now you have to put in a certain kind. I believe that's what they've done in other communities, is not everybody now needs to go buy a new expensive light bulb or a new fixture. It's when you do, now you have to put in one that isn't shining up.
Well, what about Christmas lights?
Um,
I mean, have you seen the Christmas lights that go all across the roofs?
That's a good question.
You
I
know?
don't know about Christmas
mean-
lights. I don't think that they usually cast enough
Oh, to,
lumen level to affect it, and they're not they're not permanent in nature, so I don't
Oh.
think that they would.
Plus, it's too cold to go out and look at the stars in the,
How else is
Christmas
Santa
time.
Claus gonna find your house?
yeah, okay.
Richard, what do you,
Can I ask you a question about how will this affect our new construction of our community buildings? Will you make it?
Yes, sir.
don't
Yeah,
have
that'll-
light?
Yes,
that'll definitely be compliant.
yes. The design says.
Steve.
all items, yes.
Come up to the mic if you want to, Steve.
Most of the lights that are dark sky friendly are very attractive. They're cylinders that mount to the side of the house where the light goes up and goes down. It illuminates the immediate area that you need to see that's safe. It's not one of the lights that looks like a carriage light, you know, that has a bare bulb in there that just, it's like the headlights, and we see them everywhere, you know. I've had them, and until I was introduced to some of those night sky, you realize that they're much more attractive. That some of the shadows and the different layers and textures of a building, they show up more than what these other ones are just so bright. As you drive up to them, you know, you nearly have to put your sun visor down. But these ones that primarily they're cylinders, it's an indirect light. In essence, it's an indirect. You don't see the bulbs.
Can we make that optional for our residents that can do that if they want to?
Well, obviously, people could do it now if they wanted to, I suppose.
Well, we would have to, as the building committee or the architectural control committee, would have to make sure that the contractor is specifying a light fixture that is dark sky friendly.
That's probably, I mean, that's a baby step.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's one thing that is gonna have a lot less pushback, because pushback's gonna be, I've gotta rip out my lights and put in new ones,
And
just
some-
like Garrett said.
Some communities have offered financial incentives,
Yeah.
so that it's,
That's
you know,
us.
there's,
Well, that would be us, and we're not gonna do that.
What about the blue lights? That are, you know, honoring the powers of the police department.
Yeah.
That you have outside blue light.
Yeah.
I don't know that those are, you know, we have that, well, there's a big meteor shower, I think it was last night and tonight.
Yeah, except you couldn't see it because of the clouds.
Well, and some of that is, I remember when Halley's Comet came through, and I had a telescope, and I put it back in my truck, went up to the parking lot of the club where there's no trees, and I was, well, I could finally see it,
Yeah.
but there was so much light pollution from the parking lot lights, those mercury vapor lights, those old lights we used to use that you could, you know, you could singe a hair on a dog's back with them, they're so bright, and that's what the dark sky friendly, you don't see those halogen or mercury vapor, they're all indirect lights, and you see Marble Falls has introduced a lot of those to the soccer fields. They're LED type of light that is not nearly as glare. Yeah, that's right. Those are LED.
Well,
Well, I don't know. This is the discussion. I mean, do you have any more to add to it, or?
No, that's all.
Or just open it to the council for their comments? I think everybody thinks it's a good idea to have, you know, not light up the sky, but paying for it and all that stuff is the problem.
well, I almost think it's more of educating
Yeah.
people, you know, and it's like in the newsletter or stuff, little tidbits about what is dark sky, what are the benefits, and just consider if you're replacing your outdoor lights that you might wanna, you know, look into it.
And I like the idea of making it a responsibility of the new contractor.
Mm-hmm.
I like that,
I do too.
but I don't really wanna do it to our residents.
Well, I
Yeah,
don't,
unless they decide to replace their lights, you know, the fixtures are falling apart or something, yeah,
I don't see a problem with the council taking this initiative up, but like Mark said earlier, it's gonna be done in baby steps.
yeah,
We have to start somewhere,
right,
and the individuals that have outdoor lighting already, when they can be their grandfathered in, until their lights go out, and then there should be a requirement that if they're gonna replace those lights, or when they do replace them, that they comply with the dark sky concept.
Well, I think you have to educate the people, you know, and for instance, even to the point of examples of what are lights that meet those requirements, you know, photographs of them, and just to kind of educate our residents that this is what's going on in the country because of limiting light pollution, and just for them to consider that, you know, but you'd have to tell them something about and show them, what do these light fixtures look like?
I'm of the opinion, I think our streets are too dark in Middle Lakes. I've almost accidentally hit someone walking at night just because it's so dark. And I know we don't have street lamps, but in my opinion, if you have nice, attractive lights, like I keep our lights on at night, the sconces, so it lights up the whole driveway. I think it's nice to have that around town because then you can kind of see where you're going, especially for people who are walking at night.
Does that violate the,
I can double check, or I guess check to see if streetlights are allowed in any form. Do you know?
I think they are up at a certain height.
Has night sky friendly streetlights.
Mhm.
When we've done some development down in the downtown area, the light is directed down
Yeah,
and it's shaded from going up.
well, it's the one that if you go through Johnson Park, they put up those new lights along
Yeah.
their walking path, and that's exactly what they are, because the light comes down.
And it's LED.
Yeah. But I'm not asking that the city does that. I'm just saying that,
Yeah,
you know, that's the only light we've got is from people's homes right now.
yeah.
What would it cost to do the, tennis courts? If that's a really bad light.
I don't have an estimate on that right now.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be substantially more than replacing them with what they have right now.
I think that'd be a good idea. I think what we really need to do is see if we can get a grant from PEC. And I think we're actually obligated to do that with our contract with Lance to apply. We don't have to get it, we have to apply for it.
Well, I
We haven't
know,
done that.
I was gonna say, I know in the past, you know,
What
people,
about the people that have their flags on their garage doors and their lit at night?
Those are very low lumen
is the one
lights.
coming down,
Very low lumen.
you know.
Hey,
Some of them are shining straight up.
we're getting a lot of comments from
Okay.
here. We really
Right.
want to
Okay.
confine the discussion to the people in here unless I call on you.
Yeah, so,
Okay.
I think that's.
Anything else? Let's move on then. I think we keep bringing this up, I'd say, Will, and also if, in your newsletter, maybe put something in there about it. And little, like Carolyn said, little tidbits, maybe a paragraph, explaining what it is, because I wrote about this in my newsletter one time about 3 years ago. And some guy wrote me an angry email saying, you know, it's dangerous to not have lights. And he misunderstood that dark sky is not absence of lights, it's more, more directed toward the ground where you need it instead of into, the sky.
Do we have the infrastructure in place to ever put up street lamps?
No.
It's costly too. The only way we probably could afford it is LEDs. Solar.
Can you
Yeah,
use,
so-
battery powered or anything?
Yeah, solar.
Solar, yeah.
That's a lot of people are going to that because
Yeah.
just the infrastructure to install them, I mean, that's.
But I mean, in certain areas, like the little children's park down there, like just in the little public areas to light things up.
That would be good for solar.
Mhm.
And then the solar's getting real good now because, you know, they say bright till like for 4 or 5 hours, then they dim. And then if someone walks within 50 yards or something, they motion sensor come back on bright to save the battery. But it gives you a little bit of light, but then, but yeah, that would be. And I told Will read my lips a while ago. We looked at replacing the tennis court lights about 3 years ago, and it was about $25,000 to make them. Make something in the future. Yeah, because we had to replace all the poles, the whole thing to get the height up, to be able to provide the lumens that they need for the tennis court.
Okay.
So no action really, just,
No.
maybe
Yeah,
a
just discussion.
newsletter.
I think we need to do some information work,
Yeah.
and,
Yeah.
you know, this is sort of like something we want to strive for way down the road.
Yeah.
And it's a good idea. Okay, new business, authorize the mayor to sign a lease agreement with the PFC, and go ahead and talk about it, I might have comments too.
Sure. So City Council has received the newest version of this lease agreement. However, I don't think that it's one that should be implemented quite yet until we have our attorney's opinion for one, and all of you have a chance to review it with some time. And Mark and I were discussing it earlier today, that you could authorize him to sign it once it is finished, and we could not violate any rules, but you could each indicate that you like what you're seeing, and then have the mayor sign that. Is that not allowed, Johnny?
If you take a straw poll, that's walking the corner.
No, well, I guess what we're saying is we could,
But if they direct it to Will, it's one thing, but if they direct it to everyone else,
exactly.
you're in trouble.
Not just, well,
But
What-
you're still kinda,
Well, here's what I was, check this out, think about this. What I was saying was, Will sends out the agreement to everybody so they can review it. They have a week or so to review it. And then they send an email back to Will only saying, I endorse this. But what we'd have to do now is have a authorization for me to sign it.
Execute the agreement.
Yeah, but I won't sign it until Will tells me.
I still think you're kind of.
Still close?
You're on
Yeah,
the fence
yeah.
post right there.
Okay.
Fall
Yeah.
one way or the other.
But-
Well,
The best thing would be is just send it out and say, you got any comments?
Yeah.
And send it directly to Will. And that way, you're not asking for permission, but you're just commenting on the document.
okay.
Well, but here's the thing, is for a lease
Okay, I'll get-
agreement, if the attorneys looked at it and the people who are the signatories on it agree to it, I mean, a lease should be pretty straightforward. It's not like that we're gonna have comments to be incorporated, because I'm not an attorney, and the problem's gonna be, if we don't have this in place, we probably aren't gonna have a meeting in December, and then that means the next meeting is January, and we really probably need the lease agreement in place prior to January.
Yeah, if we need to do it, we could call a special meeting in December though,
Oh,
if we
okay.
decide not to.
Oh, okay.
Go ahead, Barbara.
This is a lease between the city and the PFC.
Right,
The PFC has not seen the lease.
Okay.
We've not had a meeting about it, and I think we need a meeting, and we need to vote on it.
absolutely.
But we need to do that before you can even consider
Yeah.
signing
Right.
the lease.
Okay, well, let's just hold off until
Yeah.
that was my comment too.
It needs to be in effect before the restaurant is open,
Yes, that's, yeah.
because this covers us
Right.
and them. So
When we
want-
get to the point where everyone's satisfied with the agreement, I think we can call a special meeting and approve this particular thing.
Can we do a joint meetings? We don't have to have a.
Yeah, we can do that.
with the PFC?
I don't
Yeah,
see-
we
I don't
could
see any
probably do
problem with
joint.
that.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Will,
We've
can
done
you
that
give
before.
everyone an update about where why we're doing this and where the restaurant stands and so forth?
Yeah.
Sure, so this is an agreement where the city will lease a portion of the, what was a tennis court, but is the golf cart facility, that's currently unoccupied, just asphalted over, to the PFC, who will in turn probably lease it to, PLAV, so they can operate a temporary, food establishment, snack shack, and also sell alcoholic beverages, so that our residents and golfers have a spot to get a hot meal and a drink. We'd like to get this up and running as soon as possible. This lease will be one thing that has to get done. We'll also need to build the building for them. We can order in prefabricated buildings for the most part, or kits, or we can build it from the ground up. But in order to begin work on that, we probably need to have the agreement done beforehand to make sure that the PFC signs it, and then we want to make sure that PLAV will also agree to it. We've had verbal confirmation that this is what they want to do, but
The
that,
PLAV does not sign it.
well, I mean the agreement between the PFC and PLAV.
But the PLAV doesn't sign us, but they have to comply with it because you're naming them as operator that operates under this agreement, so.
Johnny, do you have any idea when the temporary restaurant's gonna be? It may not even be January?
Oh, no, it won't be January.
That'll be great.
So I really don't understand the point in this temporary restaurant if we're gonna be building a new restaurant.
They don't wanna wait a year.
I mean, do we have to keep the restaurant on the,
I think it's, you're gonna drive golfers away if they don't have anything to eat.
Or drink.
They'll demand it. You
Well-
gotta have something.
I think you ought to explain what it is that we're talking about. They may not understand. It's either going to be a shell it's a prefabricated shell, the PLAV Plab will do the interior part.
PLA, yeah, no, the operator will.
The operator,
Basically, the only thing the city will be providing is a shell and power and water and sewer to it.
yeah,
And they have to do all the interior finish. And the question is whether we build it or we have a portable moved in. And, I'm kind of jumping the gun, jump in here, Will, because we were talking about this, I don't take over the sale, but, basically, they just want a shell that they'll finish out for the restaurant. For us to do it, it's gonna be January, February before we can get to it. I mean, we just got so much work that I can't put these guys off doing another building right now. We hadn't even finished the one we started with. So we were back, I think Will did some research and you can, on the portables.
Yeah, and so, we did entertain the idea of doing a food truck, or something like that, but the operator wants enough space to be able to kind of spread out and have storage capacity for alcohol and food, refrigerators, all that kind of stuff. Part of our discussions with PLAB also, arrived at this, that instead of branching off and going down any other paths, we would continue operating together, and we would provide some sort of facility for them to sell food out of, food and alcohol. Right now, they're at the Hidden Falls restaurant, selling alcohol only, and that was also part of our understanding, that we'd continue operating in good faith together, and provide them with somewhere to do their operations. Now, we'll have to arrive at a point where that building needs to be knocked down, and if we don't have this new temporary facility built, we're prepared to put them in the temporary pro shop temporarily until that's built.
Really? When did that come up?
No, that's what it's always been.
Pardon me?
That's what it's always been.
That's the only thing you can do if they don't have a, if they don't have a,
The pro shop?
No, just
No.
alcohol.
Sorry, yeah, I was not specific there. They
Yeah.
would just be selling alcohol out there
Alcohol.
until
Yeah.
this is ready, because we don't wanna hold up the entire project because they're still selling beer out of the restaurant.
What would it cost to get what do you call it, a temporary building?
Yeah, it's a prefab building.
Yeah, what would it cost? That would be the easiest solution.
25 to 28,000.
Yeah, that's, yeah,
Yep.
it's about, that's really a good price, actually.
but that's just the building, then we
That's
gotta,
our sales.
then we gotta hook up,
Unfinished.
Yeah, 'cause
We
I
gotta
know
hook
what
up
I
the
paid for
utilities.
it.
The only thing, yeah, utilities won't be too big a deal, we'll just have to restrict the amount of power they get, because we don't have a whole lot they can give. The utilities part of it is cheap. The only other thing we have to add is part of the agreement we verbally talked about was we put the AC in, so it'd be, another $2,000 or something, so.
What about the plumbing?
That's all their responsibility. And then the biggest problem is we can't pay from that from bond funds. So
Can't what?
we can't pay for, I don't believe we can utilize bond funds
No.
to pay for that. So that the purchase of that building would have to come from another fund. Now, again, jump in here, Will, I don't take the game, but we talked about, once it's done, because, if you recall, last year's budget, we budgeted 50,000 to put in a new lab and, bathrooms and everything at the sewer plant. So we could probably utilize this building afterwards for the lab and bathroom and stuff that they need down there.
Yep.
It's not the ideal situation for them, because they want a little bit bigger space, but I think we'd probably pick one big enough that we could.
Johnny, you were saying that the pro shop might need more space at some point in the future for storage.
Storage.
How come we don't just go ahead and build onto the pro shop enough space for the restaurant, and then when the restaurant leaves, then we can use that space for
We
storage or whatever we
really don't
need?
have any place
Well,
to move.
we don't have it.
The only way we would do that is we eliminate either the in or the out entrance, and we could do that there. And that's something to be considered.
And it may even be something where we wanna keep it could serve a purpose in the future for food and beverage sales, like on the first hole
Yeah.
versus the restaurant. You could have two different things, like a sandwich and beer shop or something, and then your full-fledged restaurant.
Let me get with Will and let's get with David and Isaiah, and, because the flow of it is you come in one day, because the only place we could probably put it would be the wash bay, is what we got this designated, and that's an inside, inlet. And then you get, cars go out the opposite side, so there's a flow through there. But we can kick it around, there may be a way to do it, especially not spend a whole lot of money.
course.
The date that they're going to start demolishing the restaurant, because that date, they need to have a place, because they won't have the bar. They need to have a place, sell the beer and the, you know, so.
I
we need to
agree.
be very careful about those dates.
Exactly, that's a extremely good point.
Around the 15th of December.
As soon as we get,
They're gonna have to vacate probably around the 15th of December.
They're gonna vacate, and when are they gonna start demolishing?
Probably around the first year, but there's a lot of work that's got to be done before they can, because we have to do, asbestos abatement. It will take he said
Can
2
we have a temporary place for them to serve beer and wine and
We can
food?
have the building there for them.
Yes.
But it's gonna be up to them to finish it out.
That's right.
So, I
Okay.
mean, yeah, yeah.
Well, but wait a minute, I thought we said they're gonna sell it out of the pro shop for a while until the building is there.
Yeah, that's something that we've kicked around.
But I think that's the solution, is you gotta have some place for them for the golfers to have some
Yes.
beverages.
Yes.
And be honest with you, they're making more money off the beverages than they are off the food anyway.
They didn't
I-
make a lot of money, I understand. They didn't make a lot of money.
Off beverages?
So I really would like to see some
Yeah.
consolidation here when.
Well, if they're not gonna make any money, that's a problem too, because then we don't have anything. We gotta have somebody that makes some money,
yeah,
or they're not gonna be in operation.
their sales have gone down because the restaurant's closed.
Right.
So you don't have people buying a meal and 2 beers with it. It's just people who are single purpose fully coming and getting
But
out.
their operating cost is down too.
I just don't like the idea of a prefab building and spending that
I don't
money
either.
towards it. I mean, if we need the space anyway, why don't we just try to integrate it in?
Prefab temporarily.
Temporary.
Prefab temporarily.
But then you-
That
but it-
then goes to become the lab building.
Maybe,
it
but you
moves.
still have to have all the plumbing, so it's not really that temporary.
Well, it's gonna be temporary. The building will
There's
be
no bathrooms
gone
or nothing.
at some
It's just gonna
point.
be sinks.
Okay.
When they
And-
built
and-
the new
And
restaurant.
most new golf courses actually use their temporary building as their pro shop or food service until their clubhouse are finished.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So it's not abnormal to have that.
yeah.
Yeah, golfers expect that, a temporary while
Yeah, I
the
understand that. I just
construction.
didn't wanna see it stay there.
Yeah,
after.
it's,
So
Oh.
it won't stay there.
Oh, it won't stay there.
I agree with you 100%.
Yeah,
It should
it's
not
not-
stay
it
there.
doesn't need to stay.
No.
That was the problem, I think, when we were talking about building the building there, is it's not the most pleasing area to leave the building. 'Cause, you know, it won't be finished out, you know, we just don't have the funds to finish it out like we are the pro shop. Temporary pro shop. And we basically
So-
basically look just like a temporary, or,
Yeah.
prefab.
Okay.
Okay.
So anyway, so it seems to me that we ought to decide on a course of action.
Yes.
Are we going to just go with the temporary, prefab building? And if so, we need to get estimates on that, because again, if we don't have a meeting in December without calling, there's only so many things you can call a special meeting for, then we can't get that approved. So it seems to me we've gotta decide exactly what we're going to do so that we can get this thing going.
Yes.
Well, I mean, the agenda says approve the mayor signing a lease agreement, but I guess Steve?
I have built a lot of buildings where we had to abandon an old building and build a temporary one. And the process is, what are your space requirements? Then the people who lease those buildings will tell you what size they have. A foundation is still required, either a concrete foundation or concrete perimeter beams that the building sits on if it already has a floor. The building, the foundation is not reinforced with concrete, it's just poured concrete and people walk on it for 3 or 4 months and then you demo it, it's easy to demo. But that is the way to do it. You find out what the space requirements are, and then maybe that building is half the size of this room here. And then a foundation is placed, whether perimeter or slab, and then the building's called and put in. And conduits are in there for your electrical requirements, your phone requirements, and then it's taken out. And but there has to be somebody that is at the helm saying, this is what we need to have.
Yes.
This is the requirements, and this is where it's gonna be. and then we have a foundation contractor come in and pour the slab. And they're easy when you don't put reinforcing in it. You can tear them out in 3 hours, you know, and so, and there's not a lot of money involved.
Thank you.
And it'll still support the buildings, I guess, if.
Yeah, the
without-
building,
without-
you know, there's no concentrated loads. The building is framed, it has X90 siding on it or something that's attractive and has a little gable roof and shingles. And the ones I've done have always been portable buildings that serve as banks for 6 months to 9 months while the bank's being built. And the foundation in terms of, it's just flat work. It's just a slab.
Yeah.
So is that what we're talking about?
Well, we were talking about a slab, but we're putting on asphalt to start with, just anchor them.
Well, you know, the surface, whatever the tenant's requirements are for a walking surface, if asphalt will work, then it will work. But we've always, in one case, the building came with wooden joist and a floor system, and we used that cavity to put air conditioning. In another case, it was a concrete slab, and the building set on the concrete slab, and it had, as I recall, it even had a floor system on it too. But it was easy to take out, easy to install, so it was a minimal expense. But the bank was in each case, the bank was able to conduct business during the construction period.
We need to keep going on that.
Yeah.
Well, we need to get going. The question, right, whether we do that or not, the question is, what do we do about the lease agreement, though? Let's,
I thought we agreed that he could sign the lease agreement when everybody
Okay.
saw it and approved it.
well, let's have a vote on that to approve, to grant me the authority to do
We don't wanna
that.
take a note, we'll send it out to everybody. and then
Feedback.
We'll
I
get
think
feedback.
it's Feedback, not a vote. just
Feedback.
Feedback,
Yeah.
But we're gonna vote now to give me the
Right.
authority to. That's
He's
what,
sign it when it's been agreed to by everybody.
okay, so would anyone
Not
care to
agreed, but,
move that we,
Right?
that you authorize?
well,
Yeah, but y'all.
we're authorizing,
Okay.
I'll
wait a minute.
move that we authorize the mayor to sign a lease agreement with the PFC for this temporary building upon individual council's inputs to will and legal counsel's review of that lease
Yeah.
agreement.
Okay,
Sounds good.
is there a second? Well, I think it's a given, you don't have to say all that stuff. I think it's a given that I will ask Will if there's been any input from legal, subject to legal approval,
Okay.
and
So
any other comments that he might have.
legal has not looked at the lease? I mean, they did the lease agreement,
They
right?
looked at it.
They've looked at it and suggested changes, and we have no final lease agreement that they've reviewed.
But once it's
PFC
final,
had to
Okay, do we want to do it or not? I'm perfectly fine waiting until January if we don't want to do it.
You wait until January,
we're running late.
Okay, well then we need to approve it now.
Yeah.
you can't approve a lease, it's not,
We need to
Not
approve
approving the
approve what
lease.
the motion,
We're approving the mayor to sign the lease once it's approved by the necessary parties.
i.e. legal.
Yes.
Legal and Will's input too. I don't care, I don't know where Will's gonna get his input, but from Will's input.
and the PFC's input, don't forget the PFC.
Now, the PFC can't obligate me.
No.
PFC can obligate you.
Right,
No,
right.
Right.
it's just from the city's point of view.
I'm talking about from my
PFC can look
standpoint.
at the lease and say, I want it changed.
Yes,
Okay,
and he can't sign it.
but, no, I know, but he can sign the lease agreement from the city. That's
Yeah.
what you're asking.
But I want to make it very clear, we do not want to violate any laws with taking straw votes. So
Right.
I'll talk with Alessandra for the absolute proper way to do that, because, yeah, we can't conduct votes outside of a public meeting.
Unless we called a special meeting.
Mhm.
So
We-
you say we can't approve you to sign it, or him to sign it?
No, what I'm saying is, like if I send an email out to you all and asked your opinion on something, and then we like enacted, that could be considered a straw vote. If we go off of that, where it's not a public meeting, but I'm getting, do you say okay, do you say okay? Okay, that's 5 out of 5, we're good to go. Can't do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have a quick question. If we decide to build a temporary building, do we have to vote on that?
No.
Okay. For the funds, we have the,
Well, if you can't do it under the bond, then it's gotta be a new, budget item, I
I see
would
what
think.
you're saying. To appropriate the funds,
Yeah.
yeah, we'd probably have to change our, we need to amend our budget.
Yeah, we have to amend the budget. All right, so all we're trying to do is authorize mayor to sign a lease agreement with the PFC. That's it.
That's it.
And then the PFC can authorize Barbara to sign
Yeah.
for the PFC.
Okay. All right, so we had a motion on the floor, right?
I move that we authorize the mayor to sign a lease agreement with PFC for the.
Okay,
There you go.
all right.
No conditions.
Yes.
Okay,
All right, I'll second the motion.
okay. All in favor? Okay, it's unanimous. Fantastic. Next one's another agreement. This one's an interlocal agreement. Johnny talked about it earlier. It's some asphalt that we're gonna ask the county to put in between the #1 T-box cart path and the, this temporary pro shop. So that's all we're gonna do, and ask the
Yeah.
county to help us out. They would provide the labor. The county provides X number of dollars for labor throughout any year, and, we're gonna ask them to do this, so.
All right, I move we authorize the mayor to sign the interlocal agreement with Burnett County.
I second it.
All in favor? That's passed. Next one. Resolution to cast votes to elect directors for the Burnett County Appraisal District. Will?
All right, so we have 31 total votes. There are no guidelines for how you have to decide to distribute those votes. So that's the discussion part.
Okay, my question is, are there are there 5
Five.
members?
There are 5 members. These are all incumbent members of the board right now.
Okay.
And you can divvy up these votes as you like. And then, once we have that recorded on this official ballot, we'll attach that to our ordinance 2025-10.
All right. Well, I move we give each of the candidates 5 votes, but Darlene Oostermeyer gets 6.
who is she?
Oh, no. She's been on it.
Fair
Only
enough.
person I know is Bruce Jones, and I know he's in real estate, and so he'll probably fight to keep the appraised values down, hopefully.
I would think it'd keep them up. It's in the realtor's best interest to have values high.
Well,
I'd rather pay less
We
taxes, but
need 6 and then
1,
7.
2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, I forgot. Should be 6 votes each,
And
and
7 on one of them.
7 on Oostermeyer. I amend my
6 times.
motion.
Yeah, 6 times.
I second that.
Okay,
So we're gonna throw in one ballot to them from
Yeah.
all of us.
I guess.
Yes.
So, and I second her motion, to 6 and then 7 to one of them.
Okay. All in favor?
sure.
Yeah. I don't think it matters. I think some of these other entities like school boards, they have
Right.
200 votes and
Yeah.
stuff, so our 31's nothing.
Okay.
Okay, what about discussion of the December council meeting? We've kind of hinted around that we're gonna cancel it, but
Sounds like we need one, sadly. We can make it quick and easy.
what is the third?
Okay, that's what I'm.
Oh, it's
yeah.
December 16th, Tuesday, December 16th, it says here. I'm okay with having that and just have one item,
Just the lease, right?
yeah.
Yeah,
If we've proceeded, if we have not proceeded, we can cancel it, if we've
Right.
not advanced
That's
it.
true. I'm here on the 16th.
Yeah.
That Will, is that okay with you?
Absolutely.
And what if we need to allocate funds toward, if we decide to go forward with the lease, do we need to vote on that?
Yeah, anything that comes up with the lease
Mhm.
or the temporary
Yeah.
building, we can do at that meeting.
Yeah.
I think we need to do that.
Let's do it, let's go ahead and have it, but make sure we don't have this, do we need to have all this other stuff here?
We not have
I
to
guess
have
we
those
do.
wheelchairs, we not do all that, just a special meeting just for the lease stuff?
I'll make it as sparse as possible.
Okay. Let's do it. Okay, we'll keep it up. What about December operations? Did we say that's 26, no one's gonna come into the office?
Yes, that's the plan. I wanted to inform the council about that in open session, though. The plan is the day after Christmas is a Friday, and we will not have City Hall open
Oh, good, yeah.
or operations. We'll have,
What about Monday, is it open on Monday?
it'll be open on Monday.
And that's just an information, we don't have to,
Yeah, unless,
well, if they've taken vacation, there's nothing we can do to say, hey, you can't take vacation, just, okay.
You can't just call it a city holiday?
No, we need to change our handbook,
Oh.
or amend the handbook and put that in there.
Okay. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Oh, please.
Mercifully, we're gonna have a motion to adjourn, and we're just looking for a second.
Move we adjourn.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, let's vote. All in favor of adjourning?
Aye.
Meeting's adjourned.
Johnny, I'll give this to you, hopefully tomorrow.
Okay, yeah, I just need to get back as quick as I can.
Let's see. Is this, do you have this interlocal for me to sign? Okay.
She said, as long as we get it in,
Yeah.
it probably would be okay, but she had that. And don't be surprised, if I don't come back to the floor.
Not too painful.
Because last time they did it.
Or too painful.
Okay.
This one?
You got both of them? These two?
That's why the 51% signs are.
I'll print it out every month.
And you serve it on
For what? Or the minutes? This last month?
No, I know, I've been through it. No, I've been through it.
They're not in that big building, that's probably why they're not.
Okay. Good deal.
No, that's why those people.
Thank you. Very good. Appreciate all the help you provide me, keeping me straight. You need to keep this, I think.
Huh?
I knew that. I would love to have been all with you. That would have been a good trip. I've done that years ago. And then y'all flew back.
No, we got released. We got an executive release.
Closed for a short period of time there. Is that true? General Grant, that's something. Exactly. Bucket list. They're doing pretty good. They blew the insulation in yesterday. Then they're gonna sheet rock and we're getting down to the nitty gritty hopefully. But and your back likes the rowing? Yeah. It's up to you. It ain't the doctor. You don't wait for the doctor to tell you. It's you saying it's. same.